Welcome to Women Engage, where real women talk about real issues. We're so glad you could be with us today. We have a panel of lovely women, and we have an interesting topic today. We're going to talk about the role of a woman as a mother. And just before I introduce our panelists today, I want to encourage you to engage with us in this topic. Log on to our website, www.ecdadventist.org, and click on Women Engage. We would love to hear from you. Would love to hear your comments. Would love to have you engage with other women on our online forum so that you can feel a part of our program. I want to begin by introducing myself. And because we're talking about motherhood, I'll tell you my name, and I'll tell you about the number of children I have, and I'll ask the other panelists to do the same. So my name is Jocelyn Isabirye. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, a 16-year-old girl, and a 14-year-old boy.
My name is Naita Buto. I'm a mother of 4, a 12-year-old boy, an 11-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old girl.
My name is Debbie Maloba. I'm a mother of 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys.
My name is Caroline Coralie. I'm a mother to a 17-year-old daughter.
My name is Renee Mwamakamba. I'm a mother to 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl.
My name is Miriam Razafia Rivoni. I am mother to 2 girls.
Welcome. Thank you for joining our panel today. This is a really great topic. I know that we could probably talk about motherhood for the rest of the week and into next month probably. But maybe if you could just say very quickly, what would you say is the joy of motherhood?
I think it's to be the wing behind them, because they fly, you know, and you never know where they go, but you are the wing behind. I think this is lovely.
Yes.
I feel it's exceptional for me to have 1 girl because I don't have to care about 2, 3, unlike all of you. So she's a close friend to me, and I know her every move. I engage with her, she engages with me, so it's a close relationship that I have with her.
For me, it's the role she plays in the family. She's the key role for the family to prosper. She has to be there.
The mother.
Yes.
Yes. What about you, Knight?
For me, it's the joy of watching them grow, especially when we bring them up in the fear of the Lord. Yes.
I think for me, it is learning what love is by becoming a mother. I remember I'm an only girl in my family. I have 5 brothers. And I always knew that I was loved. But I remember after I had my first child, I said to my mother, "Mom, is this really how much you love me?" You know, I thought I knew what that was. It's just something that's special. And also, I think for me, for the first time, to understand also God's love. Because I remember one thing that worried me after I had my first child, and I was expecting my second child, I felt like I loved my daughter with all my heart. There wasn't an inch of me that did not love her. She was just so, my whole heart, everything. And then I was worried. Now this child is coming into the world. Where will this child fit? There's no space in my heart. And then the child came, and I realized, oh my goodness, I love this child with all my heart. How is that possible? And I think it helped me to understand for the first time, because I always used to wonder, I always felt God's love, and I felt He loved me so much. And I thought, but how can God pay so much attention to me, care so much about me, and yet love everybody else? Because I feel like as if I'm His only child, because I'm so cared for and I'm so loved. How is He able to love me that much and love everyone else that much? And I think being a mother helped me to understand love in a way that I don't think I ever had until I became a mother. So motherhood is full of so many joys, and we've articulated some of them. But it's also full of a lot of challenges.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so what are some of the challenges of motherhood?
Now I need to say, because I feel when my children were born, I'm an only child. So I don't know how to deal with lots of characters. So personality, you know, my daughter was born, and then I thought, well, all of them will be the same. then the others came along and I was like, okay, these are new people. How do you relate to them? So that's been a challenge, because trying to understand who I am and how best to relate to each of them, reaching them because of their different personalities. What you say to one doesn't apply to the other. So that's been interesting, yes.
That is a challenge.
The fact that you are the first, as mother, you are the first teacher, it's not easy. How are you going to start and help that child and give him or her good morals? It's not easy. Yeah.
For me, it's the inability to give them quality time. You see, I have two sets, two big ones and two small ones. So sometimes I'm challenged on that. Yeah. Yes.
You have to learn by yourself, because there's no class for you to go to be a mother, which no one teach, because everybody has her own challenge. I have to deal with my own. So learn from it and teach from it.
I think that what Caroline has said for me has raised another challenge, because even as she was speaking, I was, I mean, she's totally right, you know, about quality time and wanting to do that. But I was just thinking back to what Knight has just said. She's a mother of 4 as compared to being a mother of 1. And then you have, she talks about she has children that are slightly older. Your eldest is 12. You have 12 and 11. And then you have 3 and 5. And so, yes, you want to give that quality time, but that's the challenge, and that's why sometimes even the guilt. Because yes, okay, you want to give the quality time, but you have 4 children, and their needs are also different. Because you have one child who comes, touches you for 2 seconds, and goes, and they're fine, and then you have another child that is clingy, and they want and they need all of your attention, and then you have, so there's the quality time might be something that you want to do, but I think that is a real challenge, because there are so many other things that are fighting for your time. So when you have more than one child, it is those children all need your attention. Then it's also the hubby. You know, one of the challenges I think for me when I first had the children is because I'd wanted to. I had my first child in our 2nd year of marriage, and so. You know, we had those 2 years when it was just the 2 of us, and then the children came, and I was happy, but hubby didn't look as happy as I did, and it's not because he didn't want the children, because he wanted the children because it was a choice, but all of a sudden, you know, it's not, my world does not revolve around him, and even when I'm telling myself, okay, you know. Hubby needs attention, but he won't die if I don't feed him. But yet the baby needs to be fed, you know, and so these are all challenges. Even when in our mind we might agree with what, you know, like Caroline is saying, there's so many things, and I think all of us here are working as well. So now when you add that dimension as well, if you're a working mother, and then you feel, yeah, I want to give my children that quality time. I want to give them everything that they need, but I have this report that I have to write, and so I'll give them 15 minutes and then I'll write my report, or okay, home time is home time, but in the morning you still have to go to work, and you know, so there are challenges, and it's not easy.
But then there's also life's challenges. We are mothers, but there are out there many mothers who are mothers and fathers.
Yes.
So now what do we do? It is also the fact also that we want to give the best, not only of time, but what about money, education, clothes, you know, all of those things. I think these are real challenges that every mother can identify with in a small scale or big scale. But there are those realities that you know that is there, and that is very to be considered and to be reckoned with.
But sometimes we have to confront that reality, because, like I said, it's a choice.
That's right.
Like Jocelyn says, working, studying together. When I gave birth, I stopped everything.
Yes.
Until she goes to school.
Right.
So I was devoted. No nanny, no mommy, no kindergarten.
Yes.
I was devoted to my child.
Very good point. But now what do you do with that woman that I know in my place? She got 8 kids. 8 kids. There she is pregnant with the 9th child. She did not choose that baby, believe me. She did not choose that baby. She is pregnant with the, she gets pregnant with that night. There she is a mother. Now what do I say to her? I get your point. We have to reckon with it. Now, my question is, what do I say to a woman like that? Because it's true. For me, I chose my children. But what if I
You
did
did
you
not.
don't.
And it's true, there are some
there are
mothers who did
realities
not
that
choose their children.
I put it in my mind that I have a responsibility upon me, you know, a responsibility that I'm a steward and I need to be faithful. And therefore, I try my best to excel in this noble responsibility.
I just wanted to say that, you know, sometimes it's as a Christian mom, there is a bigger picture. Like I like what Carol is saying, because the truth is sometimes we forget our cultures and the pressures from the outside world. And while that is true, we need to remember that as a person, I must embrace the biblical truths. I must embrace and even have a change of character. That's what motherhood is about.
That's right.
Because when I teach my children, I have to have had a change of heart. And even before I raise them, I need to have a relationship with God that allows me to let Him dictate, let His will be done.
That's right.
And so when we are still in the battle of what is going on culturally, where I want to please, or where I'm having children because my husband wants more children, or where I'm having children because we don't believe in contraception and many other reasons, it becomes that maybe there is a work in me that needs to happen and needs to come to pass. But as it is, having, you know, making a choice to have a child really is a lot of character building needs to have happened to a person who is choosing to have a child, just one, before we go to the multiples also.
And then there is also the element of hope, I believe. You know, we have, I agree with you in the fact that we need to give time to our children. We need to give the best to our children. But suppose now there is a case where his mother, she does not really have the means, but there's a God. There's a God.
Yes.
And I believe as mothers, we have to believe that fully 100%, that no matter what happened, that God, who has created me as a mother, can and will help me.
Amen. That's
And I
an
think that's
excellent
what
place
is
for us to
important.
pause as we go into our commercial break. We'll be right back to talk about the role of a woman as a mother. Welcome back to Women Engage, where real women talk about real issues. We're talking about some real issues today. So we're talking about the woman as a mother. And we've already seen, even just, you know, from us here as a panel, you know, we don't have the same number of children. Some have more boys, some have more girls. Experiences are not going to be the same. Our experiences are not going to be the same as at all. And there are certain things that we can't put into black and white. It's very difficult to do that because it's so multidimensional. There are so many circumstances that make our motherhood complex. But society has a role to play in defining who we are as a mother. What do you think society tells us that we have to be as a mother? And then from there, I want us to see, are we happy with the definition that society has given to us as a mother? So what does society say that we have to be as mothers?
Society wants us to be everything. Mom, housewife, working woman. So we have to englobe, we have to embrace everything. We are like magician.
And
We
you must be infallible, perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
We are everything, especially in our context. It's like we are the driver, we are the chef, we are the psychologist, we are the doctor. We are everything. So that's what society, but is that what we want?
Well, that's a question. Is that what we want?
Yes. I think there are different cultures, because there are some cultures where mom is really looked up to. When mom is not there, things don't function. And in such societies, I think as a mom, you glow, you know, knowing that, oh, okay, everyone is with me here. Everyone is supporting me. They want, you know, this role. As compared to when your role as mom is, how are you failing to be a mom, you know? When people ask you, your children are not well, you don't know any remedies, you haven't done this, because you are supposed to know everything, as compared to where someone is supporting you to continue being a great mom. It's okay that they fell ill. It's not your fault. That kind of attitude also shapes how you relate with how people think of you as a mom.
I feel at each stage that my children have been at, that I'm having to learn. I feel that I am learning through their growing. I am learning to deal with them as individuals. I'm now learning to deal with my son as a young man. And I don't actually feel like I know everything.
I tend to concur with you.
Yes.
On that. I also feel I don't know everything yet.
Maybe because you have boys and girls, probably. I'm talking about having a girl and being a woman. So probably I'm mentoring her more as I grew up.
Correct.
God has created us with all the potentiality as mothers.
Yes.
Now the difference is how do we explore and utilize it. That is the difference.
Yes.
Yes.
But you know, the interesting thing with potential, just like because you have potential doesn't mean that you've achieved.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sometimes to have potential, you have to go through struggle to meet your potential. Sometimes you have to learn and equip yourself with skills and knowledge. So I also believe that if God has given you children, that you have within you and God, that partnership, and with your husband.
Yes.
And the support of your community, you have within you what it takes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will wake up to motherhood and you automatically know. And I think it's very important that we say that, because right now, there might be a mother watching us who thought, I've read the books, I've read all the manuals, and they're going through struggles. Maybe their child is only a few weeks old and they're going through depression because they don't, I was fortunate that I never suffered depression when I had my children. But I know women who would talk about reaching a point where they had to take the child, put the child in another room and walk away. And going through this. So when we make it sound as if, it's really easy if you're a mother, it's going to be, then what does that woman who is struggling, who things have not worked the way maybe they worked for me, how does that woman now move forward? Because now they feel that they're a failure. And for me, that's another challenge that we have as mothers. There's a lot of feeling of guilt. When my child does anything wrong, I always ask myself, what could I have done better? Where did I go wrong? And it could be as simple as they're not handing in their homework. And I feel, and I'm a teacher, my child is, and I'm like, what could I, there's that sense of, and I think that's because, like Caroline said, society tells us that we are super, we are miracle workers, we can do anything. And we, in a way, see that in our own mothers sometimes. We see our mothers and we're like, how did they manage? And we don't know that it was hard for them as well. And so because we have that perception of this superwoman, when we have a failure, no matter how small it is, it could be your child has misbehaved at church. And someone is like, your child did this. You just feel like it's all your fault. That sense of guilt. I think that's a challenge that comes because of the expectations we have about what our role should be. So how do we deal with that? How do we deal particularly with the hard things? It's easy to have the joys of motherhood, all those goods, but how do we deal with these hard things, the hard challenges, the questions that we sometimes don't have answers to, the expectations that we sometimes do not meet? How do we deal with those kind of things?
On a lighter note, I always say that, we have, in my culture, we have baby showers, where the older moms come and talk to you about how to raise children. But I always say to them that, you come and show us how to do a diaper, and you don't tell me what happens when they turn 2, and they don't want to listen and they're throwing tantrums. So, in a sense, Caroline mentioned how God equips us for each stage of their lives. The question is whether I want to embrace what He is speaking to me. Because my children are mine. What your daughter went through when she was 2 is probably not what mine will go through. So as much as you have information where you can say you are going to help me to understand what's going to happen, but God knows the character of my child. He knows her personality. He knows what she's dealing with. And so he instills in me to say, no, this one don't shout, speak. This one, go slowly. So I feel that in our challenges, maybe sometimes as a mom, we become overwhelmed because we look at it in a big picture. When my daughter turns 10, I'm thinking, oh, when she's 17, what's going to happen? But she's 10.
Yes.
I need to deal with the first year of Pathfinder life.
Yeah.
I need to deal with her first camp out. You know, that's what I should be focusing on. But then you start thinking, oh, boyfriend, marriage. So I think that's the challenge. If we could remember to take one day at a time with each child as God designs it and listen to him as he speaks for each one. When I think of the big picture, you know, there are so many wonderful children and we look at them as wonderful children. We don't ever go ahead for them. But when it's ours, you know, you literally go to the PhD. And
Yes.
so I think one day at a time, knowing that Jesus he doesn't put a package of surprises and then I want to see what you're going to do with that.
Yeah.
No, he's going to help you through it. And we need to trust that he does. Yeah.
I like what Renee has said. I think I'm going to go back to, in order to have that kind of listening to God speak to you about your child, I think that before you can be a mother, you have to have this relationship with God.
Definitely.
Because how will you hear him speak to you in the middle of the screaming and, you know, if your children are of that age, or, you know, as they're older, it's a different type of challenge. You won't be able to hear him speaking to you unless you have the relationship. So that foundational relationship where he is involved in all parts of your life, I think that is really crucial.
And sometimes we have to learn to back off, especially with teenagers. They reach a stage where probably I didn't go through or I went through differently, but just learn to back off as mom, because you always want to know, you always want to be there, pamper, it's going to be all right, but they don't want that. You have to learn to back off, give her the space. Let them grow and, you know, fight through prayer. I teach my child to fight, to struggle on her knees whenever she has problems. So as a mom also, I have to be a praying mom constantly. Constantly.
That reminds me something. My strength comes from God.
Amen.
I will never understand, and it amazed me when I thought how I could accomplish all things that I had in front of me. I sometimes realize that I have more than 10 arms where I do this and this and this and this and this. At the end, I ask myself, how come I was able to do it? It's only God.
It is.
Yes.
But we also have to give time for ourselves to grow. I think motherhood is a stage because they grow and you grow, and like you're saying, your role changes as they grow. I have, you know, young adults as children myself, and I am constantly thinking now, I can't do that anymore. I wish I could, really.
Yes.
I feel homesick. But that's a gone era. I have to now to face the reality and says they are adults, they are young adults, they have to make their own decisions. So we have to allow ourselves to mature and grow as mothers.
Maybe just one final question for us to think about. Is there a danger in I was just thinking about that because when Marianne was talking about her children are now young adults, her youngest is in university, and they'll never be hers again in the same way. And is there a danger for us to be so defined by our motherhood that after they leave the nest, we're empty?
Nothing to do.
Yes, we've got nothing to do for it because it's like, I've got nothing to
But
do.
you see, it is related to what Carolina was saying. It's society's expectations that we have to confront. Society expects the victory of our in my culture, we say our children's victory is ours, which is, I believe, when you think about it in the Bible, it's not quite true. Their victory is theirs, mine is mine. So we have to detach ourselves, and therefore, when we reach that motherhood whereby we have to somehow understand that they are gone, they are grown up, but I have gone through a lot. It was nice, it was fun, it was grace, like she says, 10 hands. But at the same time, now it is time for me to detach myself and to refine myself as a mother. And if I have bigger children, 10 years from now, grandmother. But at these are things you have to constantly redefine that motherhood and detach yourselves from from a stigma of being her victory, mine victory, because his victory, my victory. It's not quite that.
Yeah, because the other side of that coin is his defeat, my defeat. And that's where the guilt comes in
That's
for
where the
every
guilt
loss.
comes in.
Yes. Okay, ladies, as we wind up, can you just give us a final thought about the woman's role as a mother?
We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us.
Amen.
Each child comes with a different potential, a distinctive potential as such, and we just need to encourage them. And through Christ's help, we can do all things.
Amen.
My call to all mothers is to train up our children the way they should go, and they will never depart from it at their old age. Proverbs 22, verse 6. Yeah.
The best teacher, I think, is the Bible. From the Bible, we learn how even Jesus grew up. So I think we need, like Marianne said, we detach ourselves at one point, but it's a never-ending responsibility to be a mom and be proud to be a mom.
Being a mom is a wonderful thing that can happen biologically, by adopting, however motherhood happens to you. But I think the best thing about it is finally understanding that God has given you such a big responsibility and that He enables you to take on the role. So when I think of what God does in that sense, I just know that God, there's nothing impossible for God. These children belong to Him, and He will help us return them to Him.
When I think of the role of mother, I think of my father-in-law. When my firstborn was born, he told me, he said, Marianne, you're going to be the greatest influence on the child. Whatever you're going to put there, that child is largely going to become what you do and what you become yourself. And I'd like to send that same message to all of the mothers out there and to tell them one thing though, you are not alone. You are not alone. God will be with you, and you can lean heavily and enjoy.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, ladies. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Like I said, this is an interesting topic. We could have talked on and on, but if you're watching us today and you're a mother, God has given you that blessing. We hope that you've taken encouragement from our own challenges and struggles. Let's hold strong to the Lord. He has blessed us with these children. Let us trust Him to teach us how to mother. And if you have the opportunity to help to be a mother to others, you may not be able to be a mother to your own, but we've seen some of the challenges there, women who have more and challenges maybe than others. Are you a woman out there who says, I have a little bit more time on my hand. Can I be a mother to someone else's child? That would be such a blessing. We all have the opportunity, not just to be a blessing to our own, but also to be a blessing to others. Real women have been really talking about some real issues today. May God bless you as you deal with your real issues today.